Hi, Colin. So today we are going to have a little conversation, but before we really get into any of that, I do want to let you know that the things you're saying will be heard by my fellow classmates. But I do want to let you know you're not going to be on video at all. It's just going to be me. But I do want you to tell me a little bit about some things that may frustrate you, or like through the day, or anything that's happened lately that you want to talk about. Yeah.
Some things that frustrate me are the lack of communication between students and staff, and even like the racial barrier. That's a very serious topic, and most students don't understand that. And it's just everyday things that are different in either how we do things at home or how we do things at school. And kids will make comments and jokes about things like that, or cultural appropriation. And teachers are fine with that, and they let students culturally appropriate other races.
So what I'm like understanding, if and correct me if I'm wrong, but you feel like they don't really understand you and the things that you're going through. So it kind of creates this like tension or like this barrier or divide that you guys are feeling, if I'm correct, right?
Yes, that is exactly how I feel. That was a good way to express that. And throughout the day, I hear teachers even make comments like, "Oh, I wish my hair was like that," and "Oh, I wish I looked like that," or like they may not realize those things are racist and they may think those are compliments, but that is racist. To make comments like, "Oh, your hair's like cotton," or uh, "I wish I like fried chicken." Like when kids make comments like that, it's like inappropriate and not on the right time.
And it's insensitive, right?
Very, very. And staff lets children get away with it and they don't get in trouble for it. And they're like, oh, kids will be kids. Or when staff let young men get away with behavior in the quote, boys will be boys. That is not a thing. You should behave because you should behave. And when teachers let guys get away with sexual behavior, such as catcalling or saying, making comments about someone else's body, or even touching other people, which should not be happening.
Do you feel like that kind of promotes these negative things that happen in more of like larger society? Is that kind of where your frustration is stemming from because it's not being like stopped from a young age?
Exactly. Like it starts off as a young, like kids have to learn these behaviors, and obviously they're seeing it from somewhere, but there's no one, not parents, not staff, not administration, admin, that's saying, hey, these things aren't okay. And along with cyberbullying and racial things that go online, a lot of things go unseen and unheard
Mm-hmm.
because of social media. A lot of kids will post racist things and they don't get in trouble for it because they didn't quote unquote say it.
Mm-hmm.
And when teachers are informed, they go, I know that student and I know their mom, and they would never do anything like that. They have a past because of their race, they have a past because of where they come from and how much money they have. And they use that to their advantage and are ungrateful for it.
If it's okay for me to kind of share something that I've gone through, I'd like to share that with you, if that's okay.
Yes.
So just as a black woman, I kind of want to relate to you on that level. I've kind of gone through a lot of the similar things that you're kind of like voicing right now, and I have noticed that there's kind of this dismissive kind of favoritism thing that goes on with authority figures when it comes to both the male thing that you were mentioning and also the race thing.
Yes.
And I just kind of wanted to voice that just so you know that like you're not alone in that, and it's kind of something that black people all go through, and especially like black women have to go through with both the race and the gender thing. And I just wanted to kind of give voice to that.
Yes. I'm glad to see that someone else understands like what I'm going through and how I feel, because sometimes I feel isolated and alone.
Mm-hmm.
I have no one to relate to at school. And if there are other African American kids, they don't have an ethnic background.
Mm.
Those kids have been put in a bubble and some type of society that they're used to, and they don't really know where they come from and their culture. And even like in school when they're teaching history, they don't really go in depth about slavery
Mm-hmm.
or things that happened. They quote unquote say slavery was bad, and they mention segregation once or twice, and meaning that they say there was a white fountain and a colored fountain, which that is not talking about racism or slavery whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
And it's often white male history teachers that make racist comments such as, oh, that's just their kind and that's how they act.
Do you feel as if there's like this kind of erasure to like avoid the topic altogether?
Yes, because they probably feel some type of guilt knowing that people have done that and they just want to skip over that and skip past it. And that's really what I go through on a daily basis.
Well, I'm really sad to hear that, Colin. I do want you to know that you aren't alone in these things, and that if you ever really feel like you need to talk, I'm always here to listen. I'll take the time out of my day to listen to you, full eye contact, just to let you know that I'm here for you and I'm willing to have these difficult conversations with you. But thank you for coming to me with these things that you were feeling. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.